All right, let's go ahead and get into this week's best setups. I have 5 pairs that I'm looking at. One of them, USD CHF, is the pair that we are still in, just waiting to see how that plays out next week. But the rest are, well, actually, GBPCHF, CHFJPY, and maybe UJ. I can't remember. But for sure, CHFJPY and GBPJPY were pairs that we were looking at that didn't play out last week, but they still look good for this week. So if you remember from last week's analysis, the weekly is bearish. We are in this range where this is the lower low and this is the lower high. And if we jump down to the daily, we see that we are bearish right along with the weekly. Let me get this out the way. This is the lower low and the lower high is up here. So we have 2 time frames in sync, weekly bearish, daily bearish. Don't have to worry about the 4-hour because we already have those time frames in sync. So all I'm going to be looking for is for price to come back into my area of interest. Close, of course, as I always mention. I've noticed in some comments people are asking me to show price closing in the area of interest. Just go back and watch the other videos. I literally explain it to the T. I show what it looks like when price closes in the area of interest and then what I'll be looking for after that. So as always, looking for price to close inside the area of interest. Once we get that, we could then look for our entry signal if we get one, and then just look for price to give us a push out of it. As far as my targets, first one would definitely be down here. Although this is, I think I measured it and it was like 220. Not sure if it'll go that far in 1 week. Also, this upcoming week, Monday is a holiday for the US, so I'm not expecting too much, but the other pairs should still be working. And I know we have WEF, which is like World Economic Forum or something like that. I never seen that, so I don't know how price plays with that, but we will see how price reacts with all that stuff because it's like all day news. So GBPCHF is the first pair. Looking for sells, we have the EMA above price both on the weekly and on the daily. So we just use that as a confluence. So if price gets into our area of interest, y'all know what I'll be looking for. Next pair is CHFJPY, same as last week. Price did end up dropping. We had an area of interest somewhere up here, but it ended up closing out of it, so we didn't take the trade. But this is another area of interest that I noticed. Was it on the daily or the weekly? I'm sure it's, yeah, some on the daily, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can count that 5, 6, 7, 8. So strong area on the daily. But let's jump to the weekly and see market structure. So I'm considering this bearish. I'm using this as structure. So this is how we would look. Price is bearish. This is the lower low. This is the lower high. And price is in the range. So we're bearish on the weekly, bearish on the daily, lower low, lower high, strong area of interest, as I already mentioned. And this was just on the daily. There's not an area on the weekly, but this is perfectly fine as well. Let me just do this. Right, so looking for the same thing that I'm looking for on GBPCHF. Just for price to come up and then come down. Now I know we're looking to sell GBP, which means that CHF would be looking to buy. So in this case, if we do hop into a trade, we will be looking for price to, of course, continue to buy. But let's say it doesn't, then if if CHF sells, then we'll just be looking in this zone and we wouldn't be worried about GBPCHF because then that would obviously end up buying up. So that's how we're looking on CHFJPY. As far as targets, maybe something around here. Let me not use this line. Maybe something around this area, or I might target down here. As you always know, 1 to 2.5, 1 to 3 is what I go for. But if you're looking for structure, then you could do that as well. But I think I like this area up here more, somewhere around here. But that's how we look on that pair. Next pair is EURJPY. Starting off on the weekly, we have price bearish. This is the lower low. This is the lower high, right? Beautiful. And the daily matches up with it as well. This is the lower low. And this is the lower high. So looking for the same thing, price to push up into the zone. Once it does that, then I'll be looking for entry to then take price to the downside. Targets will be first this area right here, which let me see how many pips this is. 172 pips. Price could easily do that. And depending on, of course, where stop loss is and all that, would depend on if it's a 1 to 2.5, 1 to 3, or not. I mean, right here, 48 pips is a 1 to 3.8. So that's, I mean, that's decent. But again, that all depends on just where structure is. As far as the area of interest, we see we have multiple touches on the daily. 1 touch, 2, 3. And of course, you can adjust your lines if you want to move it more up so it encapsulates this area. You can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Strong area of interest. So I love that. I would say for my, if you want to do A+ setups, B+ setups, all that stuff, A+ setups for me would just be the weekly and daily in sync. And of course the EMA, either if you're selling above price or if you're buying under price. So that would be an A+ setup to me. You could look for that. Here you see we are bearish on both time frames. EMA is above price on the weekly and above price on the daily. So if you want, I don't usually do or grade my setups, but if you want to do that, then that would be an A+ setup to me. So I really like this pair. Already mentioned target. So next pair would be USD CHF. I'm not looking to enter this trade. We are already in this trade. We just held it over the weekend. We took it last week on Wednesday. Speaking of that, I'm going to be dropping a video on Monday, just going over week 2 of the whole prop firm series. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm not looking to enter this trade. We are in this trade. Hopefully it continues to buy up. Again, I know MLK Day is Monday. Trump's inauguration is Monday. So we'll just see what happens. But the dollar is very bullish at the moment, very strong. So I think that price will continue to buy up into next week. So this was just here just because I'm selling it. And last pair is AUDNZD. We are bullish on the weekly. This will be the higher high. This will be the higher low. Strong area of interest. 1 touch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you want to count that one. Oh, excuse me, that's the daily. Let me jump to the weekly. I'm tripping. Weekly is bearish. My fault. Weekly is bearish. This is the lower high, and this is the lower low. No area of interest, but we're not worried about that. So weekly's bearish. We just did a daily. Daily's bullish. Strong area of interest. Should be very easy to recognize. And then the 4-hour is bullish as well. This is how we look. Higher high, higher low, price is above it. All we're looking for is a retest on the daily, not on the 4-hour. Retest, price closes into our area of interest. And then we look for our entry. We also have the EMA under price on the daily and on the 4-hour, which could help push it up. So those are the setups for this upcoming week. I hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to drop a like on today's video, and let's get ready to get back to work, man. I'll catch you on the next video.